All right, listen, at the risk of wearing you guys out, all right, with this particular subject, which is the watch bands. All right, this one's loose right now because I've been losing weight, but also my wrist is skinny because it's cooler out. I've mentioned this before, but yes, it's the Gladiator watch cuff. Pretty cool. And you guys see what I'm doing. And I recently started getting emails and other notes from people who are watching the videos, and I'm being asked if I would make come on, lady, you got it. Oh, Christ. People in LA do not know how to navigate four-way stops. I've discussed this before. Four-way stop signs, when everybody arrives, the person, if you arrive at the same time, the person to the right has the right of way. That's how it works. Oh my gosh. Can't even get this video going. Anyhow, as I was saying, so I've been getting these emails from people about wanting me to make them a custom watch band. I didn't really know that that was a thing. I'm reluctant to do that. I kind of put it out there that I would, but I don't feel comfortable doing it because I don't feel like I'm good enough at it yet to where you could order a watch band from me. And I'm also reluctant to do it because trying to please somebody in that way does not work out all the time. And I know this from being a craftsman and a woodworker artist when it comes to making my pieces of furniture. I'll give you an example. It's better for me if I make a piece, generally speaking, it's better for me if I make a piece and then you buy it from me. Because you can see it, you've decided you like it, and you just want me to take your money. Now, a lot of what I do for people is not that. I'm making things for the client, but I have this communication with my clients, and I pick my clients because my clients are the type of people, if I've agreed to make something for them, where they understand that there are parameters. I'm working within parameters. They're going to be happy, but they're not that anal about the details. I'm putting in details that I think work, and they're going to work, and you're hiring me because I'm an artist, and you understand that, and you there's no way you know as much about it as I do. It's just how it is. So if I run into somebody and they're like, I need this to be exactly like this. I need that grain to be this. I need the tone of that wood to be this. I need, I'm not going to work for that person because you can't make it that super precise. And when it comes to something like a watch band, there's guys out there that make watch bands, and those things are super precise. And a lot of leather crafters are. That's their thing. They're making templates and molds, and they're going to knock out a certain number of these pieces, and it's going to be exactly the same every single time. There's guys that have built businesses around it, and that's what they know, and they can offer you these colors and thread colors and options and combinations. I was watching one guy the other day, I think his name is Michael Knapp Leathers. I think he's Greek because he has like a Spartan helmet on his logo. And he says he doesn't send pictures of the color of the bands to people because it just looks so different depending on the lighting and the camera that you're using and everything else. So I could tell by what he has said in his videos that he's run into the same things I run into with people. If you see it a certain way and you have expectations and then you get it and it's not meeting your expectations, well then now that opens the door to negotiations, right? Where it's like, well, it's not what I wanted, so I don't think I want to pay you this much money, what you asked for. And the fact that you put in days of your time or whatever, and you shelled out X amount of your own money for materials, that doesn't matter to the person that wants to purchase it. And some people are jerks. That's just how it is. I don't know. I don't know you at all. Unless you know me and you're watching this. And if you do know me and you're listening to me, you're laughing right now because you're like, that's Mike. So yeah, what I've been doing, which may or may not be a smart thing, is I've been buying these watches that are, which is another point I have to get into. They're mostly dive style watches, but they're tough guy watches that I'm putting on tough bands, you know, for tough dudes, tough guys. It's a tough guy combination. And I'm also kind of designing my bands, each particular band, for the watch that I have. I'm allowing the watch to help me in my design aesthetic individually for each one of these bands. You'll see I've done several different types of Bunds styles and Gladiator watch cuff styles, and I'm doing that based upon the watch itself. Right? If it's a 50 millimeter case, big old watch, then I'm going to want to put that on, you know, the Gladiator style cuff, and I'm going to double thick that up, right? I'm going to make that watch cuff extra thick. She's going super slow, and I go to get around her, and then she speeds up, and that's just how it is. So anyhow, as I was saying, I'm going to make that, I'm going to put a 50 millimeter Aragon on a watch cuff, okay? That's what I'm doing. And the watches that are a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, those are going to go on mostly on the Bunds style, where I'm lining that with the calfskin, because that makes more sense aesthetically. If I say aesthetic one more time in this video, feel free to goof on me about it. So, you know, I'm presenting a complete package to you. I'm saying here is this cool thing, and it's this style, and it's designed to fit this size wrist. Not everybody has the same wrist size, which is another thing about like trying to make you a custom band. Problem with that is the part that the watch attaches to, the band itself, that has to be precise. So I need to know what your lug measurement is. But then there's the length of the watch, lug to lug, and that's going to change the length of the band each time. And not all watches are the same size. You would have to give me so much information for me to try to make that happen, and then I'm kind of guessing at it. Might not be 100% perfect. So that's the reason, another reason why I'm reluctant to make you just a band. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue to put these, to me they're pieces of art. Each one, not to sound pretentious, but that's what it is to me in my mind. It's art. You know, it's a band designed for the watch. That's what it is. That's what you're seeing. You're about to see it. I'm going to show you some pictures of some of the ones I've done already. Come on, man. This is what you got. Miss Daisy in the back seat here. She's driving with a mask on her face. All alone in the car with a mask on. We still got that going on. It annoys me. I just lost a couple subscribers, I know. Anyhow, as I'm saying, I'm making a whole piece. You don't have to think about it that way. I'm not putting garbage watches on these bands. They're pretty good quality watches. They're not Rolexes. They're not Omegas, right? They're not Patek Philippe's. I'm not putting. There might be at some point a Seiko on one of these bands. I could see that happening. But they're decent quality watches that you can look the specs up on. I'm trying to give them to you when I do it, when I show you one. And if you want one, you know, you'll see it, and I can communicate with you about that. But that's what's happening. And I got this kooky light thing going on here. Let me take you off here and take you in the shop real quick. All right, so this is perfect. I had this in the van already. I wasn't really planning this, but I made 3 of these, okay? Now, I bought 2 of this watch. I'm going to give you like a brief review on this right now, just point out some of the details. But I also bought 3 of these. And I put one of these here, which is, this is basically a no-name Seiko. It's made with Seiko leftover parts. It's a Seiko Samurai case. It's the same Seiko bezel insert, screw down crown. This is a screw down locking crown. This one's actually signed, and you don't even get that with the Seiko. You know, screw down back, 200-meter water resistance, sapphire crystal. It's a nice movement. I didn't wind these or set the time or anything, but you can wind and hack this. So this is a quality watch, and I put one of these on a black Bund band, and that one's gone already. So that one's already taken. I've priced these at $375, which is an introductory price. Quality thing. You know what my thing is? I'm blending like a nice aesthetic as far as design and looking slightly rugged, right? So it's a rugged elegance I'm going for here. It's a manly thing, in my opinion. I pointed this out in the other video. All the other things you're going to buy are going to be much thinner and kind of flimsy and delicate. And this has more presence. I think this is a 41 or 42 millimeter, and you can see that I made this wider here. Look at the dome on this. This is an Addy's dive. These bezels, the only thing is I think this one's pretty good. I thought they were a little loose. Action's great, 120 click bezel. That does line up, and you can't even say that for Seiko's. Screw down locking crown. Again, 200-meter water resistant. At least that's what it says. On these watches, which, you know, they are made in China, but they're using this one has an NH35 Seiko movement in it. And it does have a sapphire crystal, like I was saying. And the lume on this is great. I don't think I'll show this to you here because I've shown it in other videos. But yeah, for that price, with what you figure a watch like that should go for on the market, plus all the time it takes to make one of these, that's a bargain. This one is sized for up to about a 7.5-inch wrist, maybe a little bit bigger. I can get this on me. This is probably more like a 6.5 to 7.5-inch wrist is what this would fit on. You got like 6 3/4 is probably perfect. 6 3/4, 7-inch wrist is probably perfect for you. I have one more of these exactly like it, so 2 of these are still available. But this is what I want to do. All right, I'm not saying it's the smartest thing to do from a business standpoint, but I'm not going to get into this as a business. I can't do that. I can't buy all the leather and all the colors and everything else to try to make everybody happy. So my idea is I'll make these. It gives me something to do at night. I'm learning my skills. I'm getting better at it. I mean, they already look pretty stinking good, in my opinion. By the way, this calf skin on the back is very comfortable. I made one for my brother that was, I made one of these for him, right? And then I made another one. It was a steel dive watch, 47 millimeter case on a brown one of these. And when I put it on, because I made his longer, I liked that it wrapped close underneath my wrist. It just encased my wrist in leather, so much so that I decided to make these for myself. Now I'm just starting these 2 projects. They're nowhere at this point. This one here, you can see, I'll take this watch off. I'll show you how far these wrap around my wrist for you. Keep that in frame for you because it's cool. So here's the leather, the Bund for this. I'm saying Bund because it's a shortened version of some place in Germany where the Bund strap was originally invented, and that would be the proper pronunciation. So you can see here that this is going to wrap much further around my wrist, and I'll just have a little bit of exposure here. Of course, it looks, I don't know how you feel about that. It's kind of neat that that tattoo shows up. By the way, I had the tattoo before I had the wrist surgery. I have a cadaver bone and a titanium plate. That was a bad motorcycle wreck, and when the doctor sewed me up, he said he was happy that I had the tattoo there because he was able to line up the skin on both sides of the wound. Anyhow, when the leather's wrapped around like that, it's just even more comfortable. This happens to be a Pagani design. It is a domed. Now this would be what you would call a single dome, which means it's a thicker piece of glass, has more distortion. A double dome, which is what you see here. Oh yeah, I get to show you something. That's a high dome there, but when you look at it here, it's clear. See how that's not distorted? The indices and the hands are not distorted versus this. When I turn it sideways, you see all the distortion there. So that's a single dome, which means it's domed on the top and flat on the bottom, so it's a thicker piece of glass. This one has a visible power reserve. Was that the right time? I guess it is. This one here is the right time. Yeah, it's working. So I wound this a couple days ago, and you can see where the power reserve is at. And this is the second hand, the sub dial here. This does have a locking screw down crown. Again, I didn't buy this to sell this one. I bought this one for myself. I'm going to go ahead and show you how this works. I just unlock the crown. I'm going to wind it, and you see that? Let me zoom in for you. Watch this sub dial right here. I like these visible power reserves because you can glance at your watch and see where you're at. So, well, I'm going to screw this back down. Now, even though I'm making this one for myself and it's going to fit me, there's always a number on it. So if somebody said, you know, because and by the way, again, at $375, these are a steal. That's it for that. I mean, from now on, the number is going to go up on these things. I just have to do it because the watch is costing me real money, and it takes a good portion of a day to make one of these bands. Really, it's going to end up being in the $500 price range. But I am going to make some really cool presentation boxes, wood boxes with the logo. So clearly, this is not for everyone. That's what this whole video is about, me saying this is not for everybody. I understand that, but I'm going to keep making these because it's fun to do. I'm practicing my leather skills. I'll be applying all the skills I'm teaching myself, making these pretty nice watch bands, and start making other leather products. Now, this here is a copy of a Panerai. It's a pretty nice job they did here. It has a visible power reserve. It's got a day-date window, or that date window, it's very hard to read. It's got a second hand sub dial over here. It's got really good lume. It's a sandwich dial. I think it's made by Parnas. When I say sandwich dial, it means that black dial is pierced. And you can see the letter, the numbers under it. You see that? Very cool watch. Now this one is going on a thicker, obviously, right? Wider, rather, I would say. Both of these will be more like cuffs. I might even double this up with the same material for this particular watch. I may. With this watch, I'm going to line this one with the cowhide like I did here, because it doesn't need to be that robust. But this one being a much larger 47 millimeter heavy watch, it's pretty neat. It's got a push detent here to change the date. You lift this off. This is what makes it waterproof. You can adjust your time and everything here. It is GMT, but it's a bizarre thing that I can't find a way to set the GMT hand with this particular watch. Maybe there's a way to do that. I haven't figured out yet. But I like it, and I got this really for myself. But again, when I'm done with this and I put this on here, if somebody wants this, you know, it's not going to be inexpensive. It's going to be super cool. And what's happening here is these are one-off original pieces of art that you can wear on your wrist. That's just what it is. No bones about it, right? And again, I'm gearing this stuff more towards blue-collar type guys, the kind of guys, especially if you're a bigger dude, you command that sort of presence, you want to have this sort of thing on your wrist. This is not for everybody. However, I've seen a lot of tiny dudes wearing leather cuffs, especially going back to the 70s, even in the old films. So a smaller statured person can pull this off. And I can when I say I can make you one, it's going to be in my style, basically with my choices. Now, if you said to me, Mike, I like this, can you do one of these for me and find me that watch? Or if you sent me a watch and you said, oh, can I have it with black thread? Okay. But as far as the leather goes, right now I'm working with leather that was sent to me. It's all bison hide. For me to buy that, like a whole hide, I think they're close to $300, something like that, for a whole bison hide. I guess I could get scraps somewhere. Right now I'm relying on Chris, and I don't think he's going to send me anymore. We were talking about it. He's like, I don't really have scrap. I sent you that to you because it was a favor. and he did me a solid, but he uses all his leather. So I'm working with what I have at this moment. So for me to invest that kind of money, it's a thing. Like, you can't. If you want me to make you one of these in blue, you basically have to send me the materials to do it in the stuff that you want, which I suppose that could work. But it's not going to make it cost any less for you if you send me the material. But yeah, again, if you like this, you can buy it and you can own it. And again, this one here and the other one I have, $375. Same thing with this. I've got 2 more of these. Unfortunately, I do not have any more black leather. So this one here and the other one like it, they're going to go on the some sort of brown. I have different tones, so you'll see that coming up shortly. I'm going to work on these 2 over this week here and try to get those knocked out. Again, I'm making these more for myself, but there will be a number on it. I just wanted to be clear about this with everybody. So again, just to be clear, trying to be clear, I'm not going to be in the leather band making business. I can't do that. I'm working. See what's going on here. I got to cut all this up. I was organizing this morning. This whole big project sitting here. It's been taking me months to get this done because I keep getting pulled off of it by that same client to do other things. I also have a life. I've been going out of town and all that. I have to focus on getting this done. And at the end of the day, I'm pretty wiped. But I can put a couple hours in a night, working on a watch band. So it gives me something to do with my mind other than just sit there and sucking in a bunch of information that's not that important to me. The boob tube, So I'm going to keep making these things for myself. I'm going to make things that I think are cool, Fortunately, there's enough people out there who agree with me. And most of the time, regardless of what it is I'm making, whether it's the bicycles or when I did the cutting boards or anything else, usually when I put something out there, people are like, hey man, take my money. They want it. So I'm relying on my past experience, even though this is totally new to me. This is no guarantee. It won't be a waste of my time because I'll keep them. I'll keep them for myself. I'll rotate them. I'll wear them myself. They're great to have as barter items. So even if somebody doesn't necessarily give me the money I want, I don't have to sell it. I'm not hard up for cash. I got plenty of work. So I can have it. And if I run into somebody who has something that they don't care about too much, but I want it, and it seems like it's worth it to me to own it, and they like what I have, then we could just do a trade. And I do that all the time with different people, oftentimes with friends of mine. So that's great too. Just so you guys understand. I just wanted to put that out there. I got to figure out a title for this video. I'm not in the watch band business, but let me explain it to you one more time. I'm not always succinct and as clear as I wish I was in these videos because I'm talking right now, but I'm also thinking about what I got to do behind me. So let me get to that. How about that? I hope this helped clarify things. I hope it made what I'm doing a little bit more understandable for you guys. I don't know how you're going to take what I'm saying. I can't care about that because I got other things to focus on. But I think I've made it pretty clear here. That's where I'm at. So don't be insulted. If you've said, because I've got, I think, like 5 different requests now between email and then people are contacting me through my different Facebook pages. They're sending me messages there, which is weird. It's Mike at MikeZDesign.com. I've usually put that underneath here. Mike Z Design. You can find me. So yeah, I've sent notes to people already telling them I'm kind of reluctant. They've asked me what the numbers are. Sabo. He's a conservative street artist. He's a friend of mine. He had a watch cuff made by a company. It was over $300 without a watch on it. And he sent me the link to that guy's site. Maybe I'll put it in here. Of course, that's direct competition, but I don't care. That guy's way more pro than I am. But his stuff looks, in my opinion, too refined. It's cool. He's asking a lot of money for his stuff, and it's probably worth it. I'd like to see that in person when I see what Sabo's wearing. Actually, Sabo's the guy who's got my black one coming. He gave me the wrong address. I stood in line for 40 minutes at the post office yesterday, get up to the window finally, and the lady's like, that address doesn't exist. But he had just gotten hit in the head when like a couple days earlier, so I don't think he's thinking right. Anyhow, I'll get that out to him as soon as I can. But I got to stop talking. I got to get to work. Anyhow, that's it. Have a good day. Be kind to one another. I hope this all makes sense for you. Whether you agree with me or not, I can't be concerned with that. I'll catch you guys in the next one. One last thing real quick. I mentioned that I'm putting dive watches on the leather. And I had one guy, I can't believe I have to mention this to you, but somebody said, well, you don't dive with leather. No kidding. I said, they're not intended to do that. I mentioned in another one, if you buy one of these from me and you say specifically that you want a nylon strap, I've got a bunch of them. I can include the appropriate nylon strap if you want to go through the trouble of trying to get this off of here, to put on a nylon strap so you could take this in the water. They're not really designed for that. These are bison hide, even though some of them are lined with the cow hide. If you dunked that in the water and took it out, you're going to still be okay. And you can always condition leather. You can get some neat's oil and let it dry out and oil it and rub it up real quick, and it'll look great. So I'm not telling you, and I never said that because it's a dive watch, you can dive with these Bunds style bands or these, Gladiator watch cuffs. Of course not. Of course not. Not what it's designed for. The reason I'm putting the dive watches on is because dive watches are robust. They're built to be impact resistant, shock resistant, water resistant, thick sapphire crystals generally, or hardlex usually for a tool watch. They're tool watches being put on these bands because they're cool. Just want to make that super clear. Okay, now you guys can go and be good to one another. All the other stuff I always leave you off with at the end of the video.